about one thing in his paper, and I wrote about something completely different in mine, and I think that's what just made the lyrics so great, is that we just combined the two. Jake did most of the writing of the lyrics, but I was right there, but just helping him, saying, we should do this, we should do that. It was just kind of a team effort, really. And that's why I think it turned out so good. So
Alright, we'll cut that there. I think Ethan's final point there about collaboration and really a synthesis of ideas kind of highlights what's going on. I heard Jake saying there, we're not dropping the kind of traditional things that students would do at school as far as writing a paper, using the NLA format, those kind of things, but we're throwing in other things because I think you would probably agree by the fact that you're at this conference, there's a little bit more that students need to know and need to be able to do in the contemporary world. So let's get into a little bit of background here, some of the philosophical foundation for what we see going on in this kind of a classroom, just a little bit of food for thought. First point, Google. Who here owns a smartphone or has ever used one? Maybe someone in the family owns one, right? If you have this thing, you don't even have to type anything anymore. You can just talk into the phone and ask it something. You know, do a Google search. You can say your own name, and you find out everything that's out there. I think that the fact that we have information at our fingertips like that should inform how we instruct, and really begs the question: what does it mean to be literate in the 21st century here? Here's one guy, Jason Oler. He says that literacy means being able to consume and produce the media forms of the day. If you agree with this, or if you think this has some truth to it, then you might say, hey, there's probably some importance in being able to create a video, or maybe in making a website. We just finished our senior English unit on college essays and resumes, and I gave the students a choice. You can either make a standard resume, or you can make a professional digital web presence. And that's what that is right there. So the students took this option. I think the skills that they're gaining in creating a website and putting it out there are useful skills. And this is something the student can use. This is Amanda's site. This is linked again in our page in the Hall of Fame if you want to check it out. She's a musician, and she's put in some recordings of her playing instruments. I think that's something that she can potentially give to colleges or to groups that she's thinking about joining to really use. Let's see. We see, according to ISTE, students should be collaborating, publishing. I think some of these things you'll see today create opportunities for doing those. Partnership for 21st Century Skills basically says, traditionally there's a gap between what we're teaching in schools and what kids need in the real world. I'm hoping that some of the things that we're doing in our class are shortening that gap, closing the gap. Also, according to ISTE, students should be using digital media and environments to collaborate, to work with each other. A lot later on we'll be talking about some collaboration we've done with students in South America and the Middle East through blogging, through sharing some videos. I think that's kind of an authentic audience that has really enhanced the learning environment. And then finally, even the NCTE, and this is a few years old, came out and said basically there's multiple literacies. Okay, I may be preaching to the choir here that, you know, just the fact that you're at the conference, but that kind of really rationalizes for me some of the things that we have going on. There's a traditional sort of teaching model that says, all right, students come to school because knowledge cannot be found in other places. I think that's pretty much gone, right? Knowledge is everywhere. It's pretty easy to access. Part of this model also says the teacher stands in front of the room because he or she has all this information in his or her head that it needs to transfer to the students. I think that's a little bit obsolete as well. And with that in mind, the question is, what should a classroom look like? What should students be doing in the classroom, and what should they be doing at home or outside of the classroom as well. Of course, as we said, information is at our fingertips, the knowledge is there. Part of the Evergreen High School mission, and this is probably true of some of your schools as well, is to prepare students for the global community. I think about some of my friends who are computer software engineers, and they'll literally work on a project during the day, they go to bed, and someone in China or India picks up that same coding or whatever it is they do, and works on it while he or she is asleep, and then they pick it up the next day. I mean, this is the world that we're in now. I can only imagine in 10 years, you know, when these guys are in the workforce, what are they going to be doing, right? They got to be ready to collaborate internationally. Roll the credits. Really, everything I'm saying up here today is just kind of a synthesis of other people's ideas. Top line, we've got some of the main theorists. I think about Vygotsky, the zone of proximal development, right? Meaning a student right at that point where learning takes place. And that's something that I like to tell teachers a lot. If you're thinking about something like flipping the classroom, doing a video project, or whatever, think about what's your own zone of proximal development. You don't have to go from nothing to everything all at once. Do whatever's comfortable for you. You'll see up here, I've been basically co-teaching the English 12 class at Evergreen High School with another teacher who, this is kind of his first foray into using visual sort of anything. And it's been really cool for both of us because we can create a class that combines both of our strengths. But I also have to think, okay, you know, he needs to take it wherever he's comfortable with. So I may be doing tests or surveys or whatever using clickers, which you see in front of you, and he's kind of said, hey, I'm not quite ready for that, right? That's going to be my next step a little bit down the road. And that's fine. Like, take whatever is comfortable with you. A few locals here, Bergman and Sam's. Teachers at Woodland Park, you may have seen some of their work with flipping the class. It's amazing. I went to a workshop with them, and they've really kind of generated a whole lot of ideas. Carl Fish here in Jeffco, I think he's really kind of a leader in this as well. All right, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. If you've read it, Dan Pink's Drive, he says, all right, there's a few things people need to be motivated, and he whittles it down to these three: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And I throw in technology there as well. Autonomy comes through choice over team, time, task, and technique. You'll see when the ladies are talking here about how we do that in our classroom on a daily basis. Mastery as well. Mastery learning, or standards-based grading. You'll see that coming up in some of our rubrics and information. I require students to present learning-based goals. So most of the students at Evergreen High School are really motivated. 95% go to four-year colleges right after high school. It's a cool environment to teach in. Many of the students are really motivated by the grades. I'm hoping that they can go beyond simply, I want to get an A, to, I want to do something. I want to get better in my writing with ideas and content. Or I want my conventions to do better. I want to be able to write a long thesis statement. Okay, these actual learning sort of goals I think are important to set. And then finally, this results-oriented work environment, something that Pink talks about. You'll see in our grading system, the breakdown really focuses on the results. Okay, some of the tasks, the daily homework assignments and stuff, you get credit for those, but the big results are really what we are setting weight on. Let's see, a few more points. Authentic assessment, we saw those, that's kind of the audience sort of thing. And really, I think it's big that learning is shared with others. I've found, and maybe you've seen this as well, that if students have a feeling that they're doing more than writing a paper just for me as a teacher, if they have a real sort of audience, whether it's students who are going to be looking at their video about perceptions in the Middle East, who are actually in the Middle East, right? Some sort of authentic audience. I think that really can kind of help enhance this sort of process. And then finally, technology. You'll see some of this coming up. Just a few of the things that we are currently using. The smartboard. My goal this year is to take the smartboard. In the past, it's been more of a teacher